welcome to everyone, and this is our first episode of Cartoon Biology. I've been doing Larry GONICK videos for a while now. To be honest, since 2020. So let's get this started with. So let's start off today with chapters 1 and 2, Organizing a Riot and Raw Materials. Biology. This book itself is written by Dave WESSNER and illustrated by Larry GONICK. Technically written by Larry GONICK and advised by Dave WESSNER, but then again, the guy who's hosting this whole thing is a little ink, as he calls himself, little tiny ink version of Dave WESSNER. Hi, I'm a little tiny ink version of Dave WESSNER, and I'll be your host through this inside-out tour of biology. That sounds plausible. I mean, to be honest, biology itself is pretty darn good. Lots of people, as time's gone by, our ancestors actually saw things a little different from us. Like, things were just edible or unedible. And they would just see things like rising in the morning, the clouds would go here, wind moaning, and lots of other noises. And so, basically, we could actually just forgive them for thinking that the world was made of ancient relics and spirits and gods and blah, 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 blah. I mean, an idea that never really hurt anyone, except for those people they sacrificed to those ancient deities. Anyway, eventually at some point, this notion actually mostly died out. So, even ideas can live? I mean, someday it will probably be mansplain the meaning of metaphor. Now, some people started focusing their attention on plants and animals alone. Oof. Alright, so applied scientists bred new, super productive, human-friendly crops and cattle, and relentlessly searched for effective medicines, then not that mushroom, and others began to collect and study living things for pure pleasure of advancing knowledge. And there's actually a name for these people. Weirdos? Well, actually, yes, but it's also biologists. In fact, these kinds of people are probably the most interesting ones because they started classifying all of them and they started doing things that no other man or woman has ever done. So what is the universal principle? What is the secret of life? Some people said that it was probably something that they cannot measure at all. It was probably something that they couldn't even feel. Some must be the breath. Others say that it's not a mystery not born in this world, and some say electric fluid. Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense because electricity does make things twitch and move, which is the inspiration for Frankenstein! Okay, whatever. Alright, next up, we're actually going to have to talk about the raw materials of life. Of course, we actually have to start with the invisible because that's the most simplest level that there are. So despite its actually peculiar features, life has much in common with the non-living world, such as chemistry. Life is nothing but chemistry. It's just chemistry that somehow gained a consciousness. So we actually think that it includes some mystery within us. Of course, we start off with water. Wait, hang on. Water. Now, water itself is pretty darn good because it's also the only reason why we're still alive. In fact, human bodies cannot survive more than 3 days without drinking water. Any water, to be honest. Namor himself can only survive a few hours out of the water, and only a few minutes if he's in the desert. And apparently, there's actually lots of things that we can actually use to actually make life itself. Life itself is just basically made of atoms. And what are the building blocks of life? Well, most people say cells, but what are those cells made of? Apparently, those cells are literally made of things like water. First of all, it's water. The second thing is like other things, like lipids and gases and those kinds of things. But first of all, we're not even going to be able to talk about those things because right now, other than water, there are other things that we're going to have to talk about. Hydrophobic substances are substances that shun water, like oil. They don't interact with water at all. If you put oil and water together, they'll just not mix at all. While hydrophilic substances, like table salt, will work with water. In fact, they dissolve when put with water. And that's pretty much it for this video. So hopefully you guys actually enjoyed that episode. Hope to see you guys soon. And so until next time, Shannon out. Drink some water. And wear a helmet.